Welcome to Raw History. Here we cut through romanticization and speculation to show you the unfiltered reality of human history. Picture, if you will, a World War II Jeep rolling across France in 1944, its hood marked with brownish-green paint around a white invasion star. That paint wasn't just decoration, it was M5 liquid vesicant detector paint, a chemical warfare defense system that actually changed color when exposed to poison gas. Thousands of Sherman tanks arrived in Britain coated in thick Cosmoline, which is a protective compound that prevented rust during their ocean crossing. These protective coatings represented, honestly, some pretty sophisticated wartime chemistry, yet their stories have just vanished from military history. The paint that could save your life. The M5 liquid vesicant detector paint emerged from real fear. Germany had, after all, deployed chemical weapons during World War I, and Allied command assumed the desperate final stages of World War II might see their return. American researchers, in response, developed an olive drab formulation specifically for the European theatre. By 1943, the European theatre of operations had standardized its use. Production ramped up dramatically, with 7.8 million 4-ounce cans delivered by war's end. The chemistry proved elegantly simple. The paint contained compounds that reacted visibly to liquid vesicant agents, mustard gas and Lewisite. When droplets contacted the dried paint, a chemical reaction occurred within minutes, turning the olive drab coating a distinctive red. This provided immediate visual warning to soldiers who might otherwise encounter these agents without realizing danger until symptoms appeared hours later. Application followed specific military protocols documented in the National Archives. On jeeps, soldiers painted the detector compound between the points of the white invasion star on hoods. The paint required 5 hours to dry, remaining effective for 1 to 6 months depending on conditions. Maintenance crews cleaned it with brushes and water, keeping it away from leaded fuel which could compromise its sensitivity. It's crucial to ensure that these procedures are followed meticulously to maintain the equipment's effectiveness. The threat was horrifying. Mustard gas dispersed as liquid droplets, causing no immediate sensation. The gas quickly dulled smell after just a few breaths. Within 24 hours, exposed skin developed yellow fluid-filled blisters ranging from first-degree to life-threatening third-degree burns. Eye exposure could cause permanent blindness. Lewisite caused immediate pain and rapid blistering. The effects were truly devastating and left a lasting impact on those affected. Soldiers applied M5 paint beyond vehicle hoods. Paratroopers painted it on M1 helmets. Some troops received paper or fabric detection devices worn on jacket sleeves. The paint worked only against liquid agents, not vapors. This limitation was important to understand in the field as it meant additional precautions were necessary to ensure safety. While vesicant paint protected against chemical attack, Cosmoline solved an equally critical problem: how to ship thousands of tons of military equipment across salt water without it arriving as rust-covered scrap. This brown, wax-like petroleum compound had a long military pedigree, having seen use in the Spanish-American War, World War I, and continuing through Korea and Vietnam. During the Second World War, its application reached industrial scale unprecedented in military history. Cosmoline's chemistry made it ideal for this purpose. A homogeneous mixture of oily and waxy long-chain, non-polar hydrocarbons, it remained brown in all formulations, but varied in viscosity depending on specific composition. The compound melted at 113 to 125 degrees Fahrenheit and had a flash point of 365 degrees, making it stable under most storage and transport conditions. Fresh Cosmoline remained grease-like and viscous, but, exposure to air caused the volatile petroleum solvent fraction to evaporate over months leaving behind a hardened waxy coating that solidified protectively over metal surfaces. Workers could brush, dip, or spray Cosmoline onto surfaces, often heating it slightly to reduce viscosity for easier application across large surface areas. Entire Sherman tanks received complete Cosmoline coatings before being loaded onto transport ships bound for Europe. Artillery pieces, rifles, machine guns, and mechanical equipment all got the brown wax treatment. U.S. Coast Artillerymen serving the massive coastal defense batteries earned the nickname Cosmoliners because they spent enormous amounts of dedicated time greasing down these huge guns to protect them from corrosive ocean spray. The effectiveness of Cosmoline during transatlantic transport became legendary. Ships carrying war material faced weeks at sea in salt-laden air and spray that would normally corrode exposed metal within just a few days. Cosmoline created a water-repellent barrier that wouldn't wash off even in saltwater environments. Metal surfaces beneath properly applied Cosmoline arrived in Europe or the Pacific theater in pristine condition, ready for combat after the coating was removed. Removal, however, presented its own considerable challenge. Soldiers tasked with preparing newly arrived equipment faced hours of labor scraping, heating, or chemically dissolving the hardened wax. Various removal methods evolved through trial and error. Gentle heat sufficient to melt the waxy hydrocarbons allowed Cosmoline to drip off. Soldiers in field conditions often used gasoline, kerosene, or other petroleum-based solvents, which restored the hardened Cosmoline to a viscous fluid that could be wiped away. Chemical weapons, thankfully, never appeared on World War II battlefields in Europe or the Pacific theater. Germany refrained from using poison gas even as the Third Reich collapsed, and without actual combat use, M5 vesicant paint performed its mission by simply existing as a deterrent and detection capability. Soldiers who wore it throughout the war never saw it turn red in response to an actual attack. This absence of combat validation meant M5 paint generated no dramatic after-action reports, no citations for lives saved. It became a precaution that proved unnecessary, filed away in military history as equipment issued but never truly tested. Cosmoline's fate? Well, it followed a different trajectory. The compound actually remains in use today, still meeting military specifications for preservative and sealing compounds. However, its use has become quite specialized, confined to specific applications where its properties are still advantageous. Most military equipment these days uses synthetic corrosion inhibitors and protective films, which honestly apply more easily and remove more cleanly. These weren't exactly glamorous innovations that win wars through tactical brilliance. They were patient, persistent, and, well, effective solutions that kept equipment functional and soldiers protected. If you're ready to explore more overlooked but essential technologies that shaped the Second World War, go ahead and subscribe to Raw History and share this with anyone who thinks they know everything about World War II.